Okay. Um, good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth day of our UI UX Design Bootcamp here at Loctech Training Institute. It's really been a great journey, and I am so glad to be here with you guys once more. Okay, so yeah, we've gone so far. We've done a lot of things, and it has really been excited. So before we start, I'd like to introduce myself once more, in case you're just seeing me for the first time. I am Olent Asinobi, a UI UX designer here at Loctech Trading Institute. Okay, so that said, now head over to Figma and let's see what we've left off yesterday. Okay, all right. So yesterday we covered a lot of ground. We learned how to create an Instagram post. I know my screen is looking a little bit busy, but let's just ignore these other guys. We learned how to create an Instagram post like this. We learned how to import icons through a plugin called Iconify. We also learned how to create components and animated buttons. We learned how to animate this our like button, although we didn't get to see it in action. Then we also learned how to create this profile picture and the name, and just practically everything that we're seeing here was done yesterday. Yeah, it was so fun. But in case if you missed it, you can always head over to our YouTube channel or Facebook page and you can see all the videos starting from Monday. And also remember to subscribe so that you can always get and turn on your notifications as well so that you can always get helpful content and educative content just like this. So for today, we are going to be completing our home screen. As we can see, our home screen is from what we've done so far. We are getting close to the finish point, but our home screen is not that much far away from completion as it might seem. Now we've gotten our post. We've learned how to create a friend suggestion card 2 days prior. So what's next is for us to create our bottom navigation bar, our story scroller at the top, and then we place in our logo, the Instagram logo, and these few icons like so. All right, so that is what we're going to be doing today. And then, if time permits, we'll move on to create other screens as well. Because you know that, of course, before you get to your homepage of Instagram, you're also going to have your sign up and sign in screen as well. So we're going to be creating that if the time permits us, but we're going to be first focusing on our home page. So before we get started, a quick reminder, do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you can keep on getting much helpful educative content just like this. All right, that said, let us head over to our design and our work for today. First off, we're going to be creating our navigation bar at the bottom of our screen. So, like you see, and like you all know, navigation bars are like an identifying factor of mobile apps, which is what we use to identify them. So this navigation bar contains the various screens or represents the various screens in our mobile app. It helps in navigation, just like the name implies. So you use the navigation bar to move from screen to screen among the major ones in the mobile app. So that is a brief explanation on the navigation bar. Today we are going to be learning how to create them. So as we can see, our navigation bar is made up of icons, and I believe we are all familiar with the friendly Iconify tool plugin that we'll be using to generate icons, and I'm just going to do that to get our icons ready. So before I start designing, I need to get my external resources. So I have one, two, three, four icons. This is not an icon, instead it's just a picture. It's just a circle with a picture of a person inside, which is nothing much. It's something we've always been doing, so we're already used to it. So, but we need to know how to import icons. So now we're heading over to Iconify. To do that, I'll use my shortcut. All right, click anywhere on the background, locate my plugins, and by now, for those of you that have been following up, Iconify should be one amongst your recent, along with Unsplash. As you can see, I've used Iconify and Unsplash in the previous days, and that is why I have them under my recent. So that you should see your Iconify there. It shouldn't be a big deal. But in case you haven't been following up and you just started your Iconify, to get it, all you have to do is go over to this manage plugins all the way down here, and then search for Iconify. As you can see, the first name here, that's the spelling, Iconify. So search for it and then run it. So I'm just going to run this Iconify and let it come up for me to make my selection. Um, Iconify is loading, so let's just have a little patience. It doesn't take much time, depending on your network speed exactly. As for this evening, the network was a bit slow, so I'm not really that surprised. Jesus. All right. So while we're waiting for our Iconify, we need to get the other components ready. It seems that Iconify is taking its time. We need to get the other components ready. Now you can see that our Iconify, our icons rather, are inside a small enclosure, like a house. They're inside like a room. The navigation bar. You see that it's separated from the rest of the screen. So we will do well to create that. So I'm going to select my rectangle tool over here while the Iconify is loading so that we don't take much time. I'll just click and draw a long rectangle and then I'll color it black, just like so. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, the next thing we have to do is to create a frame. Yes, now I know we've not covered the topic of frames before, so I'm just going to briefly explain what it is. It's a really broad topic, and there are many things that we need to know about frames. But all you need to know is that remember that as a UI UX designer, you're designing digital products, right? Just like a graphic designer designs products for print and social media. Now, when a graphic designer designs, he needs, let's say he's designing a banner or a flyer, he needs to set up a page where his design is going to be printed on after it's designed. So frames act like our digital pages, not that they are pages, but seeing that our designs are not going to be printed, but instead represent digital products like mobile apps and websites and so on. So these frames serve as your page or your land where you build your house on top. So this is where you build your design on top so that you can easily present it properly. Because when it comes to the topic of prototyping, which we will learn in a subsequent class tomorrow, you see that we are going to need frames to do that. So these frames represent your screens. So these frames help you to represent the mobile screen, desktop screen, and as well even smartwatch screen and other devices that you might be designing. So to create the frame, that's where you have your frame tool, which is actually the second tool after the pick tool. So I'm going to select my frame tool now, and then you see that automatically on my design panel I have a list of devices which we are all familiar to, devices that contains different screens, and you see that they have different sizes. So I'm going to select iPhone 16 Pro. Yes, just like so. And I know you might be wondering, iPhone, since we're having lots of iPhones under this frame too, does it mean that our design will work for only iPhone? The answer is a capital no. It, these screens that you're seeing here are just presets. They are just like representatives. They don't determine the actual size. They only help you to know is the platform which you're designing on. So you're designing for a mobile phone. So that means you have a mobile phone frame. So the type of phone in particular does not matter. All that matters is that the device is a phone or it is a laptop. So don't get confused or don't get worried that because you're working with an iPhone 16 Pro, it means your app is only going to run for iPhones. So I'm going to get my frame just like so. And then I think the next step now is to now go back for my icons. So seeing that don't have much time to go for Iconify, as Iconify is delaying us, we're going to improvise. Now, we all know how to work with Iconify from our previous class, but just for the sake of those that are just coming, if your Iconify loads up, because mine, I think the terrible network in my area is affecting it now. I'm going to be copying from the ones that I have here already. So if you don't know how to create it, all you have to do is just after the Iconify tab comes up, you're going to see a search bar there. Just click on the search bar and type the name of whatever icon you are looking for. So in this case, let's say we're looking for this home button, this home icon. All you have to do is just type home. You don't need to worry yourself about adding icon at the back of it so that Iconify can actually understand what you mean. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy out all these guys, Control C, and I'll come out Control V. It's actually pasting inside, so I'll drag it out. I'll do the same thing for these ones. Control C, Control V, then third, Control C, Control V, and then I'll copy out this last one. Control C, Control V. Oops. Okay, so that means we are good to go. So the next step for us is to arrange all these guys properly. So I'm going to arrange this, lay them out in an orderly manner, in the way it should appear, just like this. I'm just trying to get my box, my navigation bar ready for my design. Okay, so I'll select all of them, and then I'll head over to my alignment panel, align them, and then I'll space them evenly. So now I want to increase the space at once. So all I'm going to do, as they're selected, I'll go over to layout with dimensions spacing. So I'm going to increase the spacing, I think up until 53, or let's say 60. 60 should do. Yeah, 60 is good enough. Control G. Let me see. I hope I use 60 here. Okay, I use 56.25, but it doesn't matter, no problem. Let me just take these guys. So now it appears that they are actually behind my rectangle, which is not what we want. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll look for them in my layers panel, and then the shortcut key is to press the right backspace on your keyboard. The right backspace is to bring send objects to the front. So if you're using a keyboard like mine, you should be seeing your left and right brackets, sorry, not backspace. Your left and right bracket should be beside the letter P key on your keyboard. Yes, so the right bracket sends objects to the front, while the left bracket sends them to the back. So I used it to bring these guys from back to front so that we can see them here. Just a pretty neat shortcut key. So then I'll select them, make sure that they're properly aligned to the center, and then I'll group it. Okay, then we are done with our navigation bar. Moving on, what next for us is to create this stuff. So first off, I need to give my frame its color, which is this black. So I'll press I on my keyboard to give it the black. I'll send these guys inside. Currently it's at the center. Okay, then sending this frame inside as well. So you see that as this is a frame, everything I send sort of like clips inside it. So the frame acts like a house, a container for this content. Yes, that's the good part of using frames. Okay, so now the next step is to create this Instagram story horizontal slider that we have here. So all I'm going to show you, I'm just going to show you guys how to create the first one. As you can see, I just duplicated all of them. There's no need to create them one by one. So I'm just showing you guys how to create the first one, which is this, your story. So the first thing you want to do, you want to grab a circle. Let's say circle, circle two, ellipse. Yes, you want to grab an ellipse. Remember, hold down shift to draw. Okay, so now I'm going to fill this my ellipse with a picture. Yeah, let me see. I think I should have a pretty good picture in my download. All right, like this. Yeah, that looks good. So even if it's not the same picture I used there, it doesn't really matter. This one can serve. We get the point, as long as we get the point. Okay, so now my profile is done. The next is to create this add button that we have here. So to do that, I'm going to first of all draw a line. Remember, hold shift so that it's going to be straight. I'll increase the stroke to say around 2, and then I'll adjust the start point to make it round and the end point to make it round as well. Then next I'll duplicate this guy, holding Alt. I've done that. Now I'll rotate it, holding shift. I'll drag it all the way down until it forms a cross. Then I select both of them, align them both to the center. and to the middle. Okay, so that is looking good. All right. So now that it's done, I'm going to select them and Control G. Then remember the topic of auto layout. So I'm going to add an auto layout to this guy just now. I'll do that. First of all, before I do that, I have to reduce the size. It's looking a bit too big. Then I'll add an auto layout. Shift A on my keyboard to add an auto layout. Shift A on my keyboard. A. Okay. So now that my auto layout is added, I think it's a bit too big. So I'll reduce the size, the padding to 5 by 5. Okay, that seems good enough. Then I'll make it, give it a corner radius and then a fill of blue. Okay, think it's looking good already. Corner radius of, I'll just keep on dragging it until it turns complete to a complete circle. Yeah, like so. Okay, so now that that is done, I think I need to reduce the size a little bit. So you see the benefit of working with auto layout. Your content sort of hugs the auto layout background. Then I'm going to, sorry, I'll drag this guy over here. All right. So now that's done, the last thing I'm going to do is to add a stroke to my frame. I'm sure you guys have been following along. So I'll add a stroke, press on the stroke button, increase it to 2, and then send it. I think inside serves me fine. Okay, just place this guy here and then select them both. Okay, before I do that, let me first adjust my picture. Okay, good. So now that that's done, I'll select them both, Control G on my keyboard, and then I'll select my type tool and type the description, your story. And I think that should be a small letter. Okay, your story. Okay, that's good. I'll reduce the size a little bit. 16 seems a bit too big. 14 is okay. It's okay for me. Select them both again and then align them vertically to the center. Horizontally to the center, sorry. Then I'll group it. All right, so that's how we create this first circle. Then as for the circle on the left and the next, all you have to do is just to add a stroke. It's practically the same thing that we did when creating this guy, so I don't have to repeat that same process again. So now that this is done, all we have to do is to not just duplicate it into these different circles that we have here. Yes, so that's just to hasten things up. I've done this already, so you've seen how I created one. You can just follow the same process to create the others. As for creating these lines around, all you have to do is to give it a stroke with a gradient. Now, if you've been following our previous classes, in case you've missed a class, just check our previous videos and you get that right. So I've duplicated them. So the next step I'm going to do is to group them all together. Now that they've all been grouped, I will now select them all like so, because we're going to put them in the frame now. Select them all, right click and click on frame selection. We want to put it in a frame. We're going to see why we're putting it in a frame in tomorrow's class when we talk about prototyping. But for now, let's just do this. Select all of them, all your Instagram stories, and then right click and click on frame selection. Then once that is done, sorry, I think I didn't get that right. Select this and this, right click, frame selection. Good. So once that is done, I'm going to take them and put them inside our frame here, like so. Okay, so now they're inside. What I want you guys to do is to, before the next step to do after you've placed them inside the frame, is to come over to your design panel and scroll down to make sure your frame is selected. Under your layout, click on clip content. Now we might not understand why we are doing this, but I promise you, you're going to understand why when we talk about prototyping. So all you have to do, just click on clip content, so that way we can reduce the size of our frame to fit with the model frame that is actually inside. Yes. So because we clipped the content, that reduction I made did not actually affect the rest of the Instagram stories that you're seeing. Because now if I bring it out, just like this, you see that every other thing is as if they've been cut off. That's because I've clipped my content to this frame. So the reason why I clip the content, we're going to see that when we start prototyping, but just know that you're clipping the content so that you can be able to place this frame and make sure that everything falls in check. Just clip the content and we will be good to go. All right, so the next thing that we have to do is to add our logo, Instagram logo, the drop down, and the like and chat but icon, which is what I'm going to do right now. First of all, select my Instagram logo and place it up. You see how Figma is helping me to assure alignment. Okay, then once that is done, next is to place this guy. So these are all icons that I've imported from Iconify already. Drop down, and this one is chat. So in case you missed the video on how to work with Iconify, again, check our earlier videos to learn that. So I'll select them all and then I will align them vertically to the centers. Okay, that is done. So the last one I'm going to need is my like um button. So I'm just going to copy this guy, Control C. I'll take it over here and Control V. Okay, just like this. Once again, I'll select them all and then align them. All right, then lastly I will group it. So as you can see, our oh, something went wrong here. Let me just sort that out quickly. Oh, sorry. Okay, so as you can see, our Instagram homepage is already looking good and is coming to life perfectly fine. So before we move into the sign up and sign in screen, which is going to be the next order, I'm going to put a break for 2 minutes to entertain any questions, just as usual. So I want you guys think up, try and do what we've covered so far, and if you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment and I'm going to read it and reply and answer your questions directly. So I'll see you guys back in 2 minutes. right, welcome back from that brief break. So I think I saw a question by someone that said they missed the area of grouping. So yeah, the grouping. I'm just going to head back into Figma now. The grouping aspect is where you have elements that are alike or are together. You just want to make them one so that they make them unified, so that they don't get scattered every time you want to move one around or you want to resize one. So that's why the grouping is there. So all you have to do is just select all the elements that you want to group and press Ctrl G on your keyboard, and then you group it. I repeat, you select all the elements you want to group and press Ctrl G on your keyboard. All right. So the next step for us is to now move on to our sign up and sign in screen. So I'm going to create a frame now, another frame yet again for the sign up screen first. Frame is iPhone 16 Pro. I think that one should do for me. So how did I get my Instagram logo? It's on the internet. It's not difficult to get it. Just search for the Instagram logo word map and you can download it. That's how I got mine. So it's no big deal. I'm just gonna place it inside my frame. I'm following the guides that Figma is giving me. You can see that red line to show me that I'm in the center of my frame. The next step is to start creating my fields. Now, when working with sign up screens and login screens, always remember, note that your fields and buttons are two different elements. Fields are where you input information, while buttons are the call to actions. So this phone number and email address and password, they are all fields. So you have to make sure that your field is completely different from your button. Just like how you see that the original Instagram, the fields and the buttons are different. So I'm going to start with my fields now. As you can see, I'm not going to make my own a little bit much deviated from the original. Try my best to make it as similar as possible. So that includes working with the same size that they did like so. Then I'll change the color as well. So before I create the second one, I think I would like to type in everything first. So I'll select my type tool, phone number. I think there should be a comma, username or email address. Okay, so that is good. Then I'll reduce the size to think 13. 13 serves me well. So again, Figma with the guides. Always stick to the guides from Figma. Change the color to a very light gray. Yeah, think something like so. I'll select them and then make sure that they are aligned to the center. So this is where grouping comes in. At this point now, I'm going to group these two guys together so that I can easily duplicate it. So Control G, after selecting them, you see they are grouped. Then I hold down Alt, click and drag, holding Shift to make sure that they maintain the same line. I think I want the spacing in between them to be 10. So I'm just going to play with that. Yeah, 10 is good. So now I will click until I get to my text and then I'll change it down to password. Okay. So now, hoping the network will let me, I'm going to um I will need to create import an icon rather for my iconify. But before that, let me just work on the other text and we know that the icons will be the last option for us. Okay. So select my type tool, forgot password, forgotten password. Where's my question mark? Change the color to blue and then FS. Okay, let's say 14. Good. Then I'm going to now create another button yet again, log in, shift A, and I'll adjust the horizontal padding. Okay. So in case you're wondering how I change the color real quick, I use my shortcut key to give me to give me the eyedropper tool. This is 303 by width. This is 303 as well. Okay. So then I'll change this color to white. All right. Good. It's looking good already. Next step is to add this all. So that's what I'm just going to do as quickly as possible. Caps lock or again align to the center. Good. Figma is so helpful when it comes to alignment. I so much love Figma and I appreciate that. I appreciate them for that. Hold shift. Yeah, this is good. Then shift align again. Alt and shift to make sure it's on the straight line. Good. Figma is so helpful. Then I'll align these guys to the center. Okay, the next is to create login with Facebook. Now we see that this login with Facebook is actually the same color as my forgotten password. So yeah, I'm going to duplicate it without having to create, instead of having to create a new text from scratch. So I'll just hold Alt and then bring this guy downwards. And all right, I'll just keep some space for my text. Yeah, I just remembered these guys are too bold. So I'll reduce the blackness to something mid. Good. So I just duplicated this line and increased the length so that it's going to span across my screen. I'll push it up a little bit. Yes. Then the next is to create this don't have an account, sign up. So I'll create a new text box. Don't have an account. Yes. Drop the color to somewhere light like so. And then my sign up again, I'll duplicate this one. Okay. So my sign up screen is my login screen is almost complete. So all that's left is to put my icons. So which is what I'm going to do right about now. So I'm going to load Iconify again. Iconify it's running in the background. For some reason Iconify is taking time to load for today. Why is my network slow? All right. So Iconify has responded. So now I'm going to show you guys how to import my. First of all, this is visibility. So let's say visibility, ability, yes. Okay, I think this looks more like it. I'm going to click it and import as frame, like so. Then next, Facebook. Okay, I think yeah, I'll go with this one. So you see that Iconify goes beyond just giving you only icons. It also gives you logos for different brands. So there are some popular brands like Google, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and the rest that you know are so popular. You can just search for it in Iconify, and Iconify can give it to you with ease. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I think I'll use this opportunity to get the rest of my icons. Okay, okay, there's no other icon besides the Facebook icon here, so I think we are good to go. All right, so I'll close this guy. Mhm. Then I'll take my Facebook icon. Oops. All right, so I'm going to move my Facebook icon now. I've moved them out of their frames because their frames were causing troubles. Sorry for that break in transmission. So I'll take this guy upward a bit to the part where I have my password. That's where he belongs. I'll take him down, and then I'll drop the color a little bit from black to, let's say, somewhere around here. Yes. Then my Facebook, it seems fine. It's Facebook enough for me. I'll just move it all the way here. And there you have it. My sign up screen is complete. So the sign in screen rather, or the login screen. So the next screen for me to design is my sign in or sign up. Sorry, this is the sign in screen. I just confuse it sometimes. It's confusing. So this is the sign in screen. So all I have to do next is my sign up screen. So you see that I have some similarities between the sign up and the sign in. So I'm just going to duplicate this guy, create another copy, hold alt, click and drag over here, and then I'll work with this. Instagram logo is fine. I'll just move it up a little bit because now we're having much content. Then I think I'm going to draw some type some text here. Say sign up to see photos and videos from, okay, I think this was enter, from your friends. Okay, now we see that this has a center alignment and mine is aligned to the left. So I'm going to do well to change that in a bit. But first off, I'm going to increase the size. I think a size of 16 goes. I'll increase it to semi bold. Change the color to make it a little bit faint. Good. And then the alignment, you see that under the alignment panel, that's where I can change my alignment. As you can see, it's set to the left. So I'm going to just click on align center and it fits so I'll select the both of them, make sure that they are all aligned to the center of my frame. Yeah. So now I'm going to duplicate this guy. Oops. Hold alt and shift. Sorry. Alt and shift. Okay. So I'll set it to instead of hub to fixed width. So remember, I said the topic of auto layout is a very broad one. We might not cover everything about it, but just know that the reason I set it to fixed width is so that the width cannot be altered, because I want to change the text. So if I don't change it from all contents to fixed width, the width is going to change as well as the text. So I don't want that. So that's why you have to change yours from all contents to fixed width. So that way I can type without worrying myself about the size getting disproportional. All right, so I'll say login with Facebook. Okay, I think it's a little bit thicker. Yep. Then I'll duplicate this guy. Okay, no, it doesn't appear here. I'll just duplicate it and move it in like this. Yes. So I'll change the colors from this, copy this guy. Then from this, I'll change it to white. There you have it. So next, I'll then take this or Control X, move these ones downwards. I think I don't need this anymore. Control V to place it back. Hold Shift and then I'll move it upwards again. Good. So next I'll change this to be mobile number or email. Number or email. Full name. I'll duplicate the two of them once more. Hold Alt. This is not necessary, so I'll just delete it. Username. Then the last one, password. All right. So it's coming to life. So one last thing I have to do is to take this guy down as well as this. Then I'll duplicate this. Oops. Okay. But first off, I need to reduce the size from 16 to 12. It says people who use our service may have uploaded your contact information to Instagram. Learn more. Okay, so these guys appear to be a lot thicker. So I'm just going to change the thickness to something like this to show you that that's actually important. So you have to always make sure to differentiate your buttons from normal text. Bye. up, you to terms terms policy and C. Okay, good. So one last thing, make this text bold. I'll drag it all the way down. I'll repeat the same process for this. Okay, so one last thing to do, I'll change this from sign up. Oops, you see, because I didn't make this guy fixed width, you see that happened. So I'm going to change this to fixed width. So I'll change it, make this to be sign up, and then I'll set it to be semi bold. Don't already have accounts. Lastly, add an account. In. And that is it. So that is how far we can come for today. We are done with our sign up screen and our sign in screen successfully. We also completed our home screen here together. So we've really done a lot today. So just a quick recap. We learned how to create a navigation menu, a navigation bar by importing icons. We talked about iconifying in the previous class. We created the Instagram story slider, the horizontal bar. I know we just duplicated, but we learned how to create the individual circles with the text. We completed our home screen, we put everything together by creating a frame, and then we used that same knowledge and created a sign up screen and a sign in screen for our Instagram as well. So that is how far we can come for today. As we can see, our Instagram design is looking, it's getting close to completion. So tomorrow when we meet again for our last day, we are going to put everything all together and connect it in a very interesting part of the UI UX design process called prototyping. So tomorrow we're going to learn how to prototype, and then we'll see our Instagram action, our Instagram app in live action. So always remember to subscribe, turn on your notifications to always get notified when we drop more educative content like this one. And this is where I'll call it a wrap for today. So I will say bye bye, and we will see each other once again tomorrow. So have a good night, rest well, and subscribe.